So today is day one of embodying the flow module of our Prana Vinyasa teacher training, and it was pretty much all lecture and also a group sort of class creation discovery, and that was a really interesting development. Like the process of it, the development of the class or the sequencing was really like long and tedious, and also not tedious, but it was just tiring, I guess, and a lot of thinking, and also not wanting to be the only one, so wanting to give everyone space to speak, but also like so interesting to see what would pop into my head about like what should come next or what would come next in my own sequencing. And then what other people came up with was interesting and like sometimes aligned with what I was thinking, sometimes didn't. So it definitely, it's like a choose your own adventure story. And that was really cool. And all things considered, you know, I've kind of always felt like when taking a prana flow class with an experienced instructor who really knows what the hell they're doing, I have always had this sense of this period of sort of getting lost in the middle of it, not in a bad way, but in a like, I couldn't possibly think of what would come next, and I don't even want to try. We'll get to somewhere that this person is guiding, and that's great. And then we get to somewhere that's like so far away from where we started. I'm like, how did we get here? And are we even going to do the other side? Like, there was so much shit between point A and B. And I don't mean shit, but like in a good way. So, and to kind of go through the planning of a class and to see how to create a class like that with that sense of, I guess, giving people that sense of there's a lot in the sequencing. There's no point to try to suss it out or memorize it or remember what's coming next or whatever. You just lose yourself in it. And in the losing of yourself, that sort of analytical, questioning, like need to break things down kind of self, you also kind of find yourself, because you find yourself being present and you find yourself absorbed in, well, fuck it. If I don't know what's coming next, I might as well dive into this moment and this breath and just feel this. Which I think there is, you know, sometimes that's hard to get out of your head if you've been doing yoga. Like, I guess I'll speak for myself, that I have been doing yoga for a while. And so if I go to a class where it's fairly straightforward, which there's nothing wrong with that, and I love all yoga, and, you know, every class has something to teach. So I don't mean this in a critical way. It's more critical of myself that I will kind of be in my head of like, oh yeah, that was a logical sequencing, or oh, this doesn't make any sense to me, but it made sense to this person, and blah, 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 blah. You know, oh, I bet this is coming next. But I feel like in the prana flow style, there's room for such a fairly complicated sequencing that is actually quite logical and makes deep sense, but is, to the naked eye, seems so sort of complex and layered and sophisticated that there's no point to get analytical about it. You just dive in. At least I just do that. And that's why I love this style so much. And it is nice to kind of get underneath the hood of like, oh, okay, so this is the sort of the sequencing model that that allows you to create an organic yet very logical progression that feels like you get lost in it, but you don't get lost in it when you know when you're the one that created it. Anyway, this is a long roundabout video diary because I'm tired and we've been at it for a long time. But I'm pretty jazzed, and it was a really cool creative endeavor, and like collective creative endeavor, which I really appreciate because I don't always get to work in collective situations, mostly on my own with yoga and massage. So it's nice, really nice to dive in really truly collectively in a situation of creation. So I'm pretty stoked and also exhausted. So I will sign off and be back tomorrow.